Okay, so you've recorded the movements across a particular intersection. How are you going to make use of that? Well, you've got to turn that video into some useful data. And all I'm doing here is nicking an idea from Mikhail Colville-Anderson and his idea on cyclist desire lines, where you videotape an intersection over a period of time, then you study the video and you count all the different movements that cyclists made across that intersection. That gives you the desire lines. And all I've done here is simply adapted that for the intersection of Stanley Street and Broughton Street to show all the pedestrian movements in the different directions, as well as all the different vehicle movements. Now, I've sped this up. This has taken over a bit less than 10 minutes at the end of the school day. And you can clearly see over on the far right, you can see a few people, you can see a lady getting in a car with the kids and going off. You can see all the pedestrians going back and forth across here. You can see people going off to the left, heading down towards whatever that is, not sure what road that is. The cars coming out of Stanley Street, the cars going into Stanley Street. And what you would probably think, and this is what I thought, that there were a lot more vehicle movements than pedestrian movements. Well, this is why it's so important to actually take the video and then do the counting, because what really surprised me when I counted it up is there were 47 vehicle movements and 40 pedestrian movements. And I think the reason we overestimate the number of vehicle movements and underestimate pedestrian movements is vehicles are large and they're faster moving and they take up a lot of road space, and you see a few cars and you think, oh, that's a lot of cars, whereas in reality it's actually not so much. So anyway, here's the diagram. You can see, it's different colours for different movements, etc. The numbers with the yellow backgrounds are pedestrian movements, and the numbers with grey backgrounds are vehicle movements. And this is how I added it up. Now, there might be some errors here because it was a bit tedious studying the video, and there's lots of complicated movement, etc. And I probably didn't pick the best place to actually shoot the video from. But you can clearly see here, there's 34 pedestrian movements back and forth across the refuge, whereas if we count the actual number of vehicle movements across the refuge, we've got 15 from one direction, and we've got 23 going across the other way, plus 3, that's 26, so that's 41 movements of vehicles. And only 9 vehicles turned into Stanley Street, and 13 turned out of it during this study period. So that's 22 vehicle movements in and out of Stanley Street. Probably not is that busy or not? I don't know. I don't think so. There's obviously a lot more pedestrian movements in and out of Stanley Street than there are vehicle movements. I think showing interestingly, it shows a preference, I guess, for parents wanting to walk, or their kids walking rather than driving up a narrow congested street to pick the kids up. Now, it's not to say some parents didn't turn up well before 3 o'clock and park in the street and wait for 3 o'clock to then drive up and pick their kids up. We're just looking at vehicle movements at the school pickup time. Now, obviously, these kind of observations should be done multiple times over multiple days to get a better feel for the numbers, rather than just one lot of observations. And of course, I turned up a little bit late, so I didn't get the start of the rush hour, so to speak. But I really needed to be there for about 15 minutes to get a good idea of what was going on. Now, I think this kind of technique can obviously be applied to lots of areas where we're looking at active transport solutions, whether better solutions for pedestrians or cyclists or whatever. But clearly, do the vehicle counts, do the pedestrian counts, show where people are actually going, and then think about, well, who should actually have priority here and why? Because clearly, there's a lot of pedestrian movement across here, and they're kids, so why shouldn't they be provided with the safest possible crossing?